we're going to do a quick tutorial on how to do a blind hem using your sewing machine. It's really easy to see on our sample here. We've got a really nice clean seam with these little tiny tuck of thread. This is the right side, so the final side of your blind hem, and then this is the reverse. What actually happens is if you fold your fabric like that, we have a straight stitch and a zigzag that just catches the fabric. If you use a matching thread for your fabric, it will be almost invisible, or you could even have some really fun effects with a contrast thread. To do the blind hem, and we're going to fold this back. So this is what we're aiming to get, is this is the right side, and then you've got this kind of zigzag fold where you can stitch along this line. So to achieve that, we're going to have our right side of the fabric up to begin with, just so we can tell which is which. And then we're going to flip that over, and then we're going to fold up, and we're going to give that a press. So we need to take this folded seam and fold it kind of back on ourselves, see, towards the right side of the fabric. But what we want to do is not completely fold it, so we don't want this raw edge invisible. We want to come back a little bit here. And this is what we will essentially be stitching down while catching a bit of this fabric. So what I'm going to do is actually press this again. So now we're going to be stitching down this section here and a tiny bit of this main bit of fabric. We actually want to take this off and use what's called a blind hem foot. To swap these feet over, with this foot we just need to press our little hook on the back, and then we're going to slot this in. And I like to drop my presser foot directly on the bar so it catches it. Now we bring our fabric up to our presser foot, and I'm just going to drop this down with the guide running along this creased edge of the fabric. So we actually need to change our stitch to use a woven blind hem stitch. I'm just going to do a couple of stitches just by turning my hand crank, just to see where it's catching on the inside of the fabric. And you can see there we've just gone over about 1.5 millimeters into this folded edge. So we're going to stitch down this and see what it looks like. So after your first couple of stitches, make sure your needle is dropped into your fabric and lift up your presser foot, and you can just see that your needle is definitely catching this folded edge of fabric. So we're going to run this stitch all the way down. And you can back stitch as well. Okay, so this is the line of stitching that we've just done. So you can see how the straight stitches are all on this little flap of fabric just by that raw edge, and then the zigzags go onto this folded edge. And then from the right side at the moment, this is what it looks like. But we're actually gonna pull this down and press out these stitches. This also gives you a really quite nice flat finish as well. You can see how, because we did that second press line, there is a bit of a crease. It gives that a nice press. And this is good for fabrics that are quite sturdy. It's a little bit trickier on slippy fabrics, but it would look great on denim. Or if you match your thread to your fabric, this will be almost invisible. It's a lot less visible than a straight stitch, and just a very similar finish on the back. So you can see how here we still have our raw edge, but if you wanted to, you would do your edge finishing right at the beginning.